Hello, everybody. It is Victoria Mattia. I hope that you are doing well. It has been a hot minute since we have been here doing these YouTube minis. I used to do YouTube minis all the time, a few times a week, and I want to go back to doing those as well. So I have a couple updates. Number one, we are still doing the podcast, and it is still housed on wherever you listen to podcasts, being that may be iTunes, Spotify, Audible, all the places you can listen to a podcast. So we still have that. We also have a tab here on my channel where you can listen to the podcast. Now, for a little while, we were doing video for all of the podcast episodes. We are not doing that any longer. The reason why is that because with the apps that I was using to do the converting, sometimes it's a little finicky of how long the video is allowed to be. And I want to be able to share everything I need to share with you guys without having those time constraints when it comes to doing the conversion option. So we're going to be just doing all audio unless I let you know ahead of time or during the episode when it comes to the podcast. So go ahead and listen to it as you wish. And then we're going to do over here on the YouTube channel, YouTube Mini. So ideally, I like to talk, but ideally, we want to have our YouTube Minis anywhere between just a couple of minutes, like a short, or up to like 5 or 6 minutes, maybe 7. So those are what I'm calling the YouTube minis. And it's basically, we're going to be talking about our 4 intentional needs. We're going to talk about the coaching options if you are interested, the health bundles, different products that you can find in the health bundles that are all on my website. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I want to just share with you what we've been talking about on the podcast in these last couple weeks. Really exciting stuff, because I think it was last week we released 2 episodes, the last week or the week before, we released 2 episodes all on sleep. And we really were able to kind of dive into all of the nooks and crannies when it comes to sleep. Although I'm limited in like how many tips I can give you per episode, but if that is the topic that you are really interested in, or you'd like to kind of help yourself be more aware of different options when it comes to helping you get quality sleep, I do have other episodes on the podcast, so you can just search for that, and it's in the title, what talks about sleep. So that's number 1. Number 2, we talked about nutrition, and it was really like 5 of my top tips when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to meal prep, meal planning, grocery shopping, how to get all the things done. And then the last 5 tips for nutrition was all about just helping yourself. So there was like a tip that had to do with what time you should go to bed after you've eaten. It needs to be at least 3 hours. So if you eat dinner at 5:30 and you completed dinner at 5:30, then you could go to bed at 8:30. It was something like that. So you can kind of think about like the time you go to bed and what time you have your last meal, and then even kind of giving you some ideas on how to kind of be a little more strategic about that when it comes to how to make nutrition work for you. And I am vegan, but I understand that there's different diets it's best for each individual person. So I do give tips on different meat options, veggies, fish, all the different kinds of things, as long as it is whole food based. And it, nutrient dense, whole food based, organic, pasture raised, grass fed, all the things. I'm not going to give you tips on like anything with lots of sugar in it, because that we want to keep, the whole point of, honoring your 4 intentional needs is to help your body have the fuel it needs to be your best, to have the energy that you need to do all the things that you are called by God to do. And it's kind of hard to do that if we're like eating things that it's not good for our body. So we don't want to do that. But I did give snack options as well, and how to prep those and different things like that. So I do encourage you to go over on the podcast and learn a little bit more. Also, I had mentioned a few weeks back on the podcast that I have opened up some more slots when it comes to coaching. So if you are a person that would like more help when it comes to like health coaching and life coaching, especially as an autism mom, then that is something you can look into. In the description box here, you will also see my email. So if that is something that you want to kind of discuss, I do offer a free discovery call to see if we are a good fit when it comes to your coaching needs. And so you can book that. And what you will do, you will email me, and then I will guide you through that process and send you the links that you need so that we can get you started. So that's awesome as well. There are a lot of health bundles that I have on my website now. When it comes to nutrition, so let's go ahead and get started. So we've been talking about nutrition on the podcast in the last episode. And like I said, the one before is sleep. Was sleep. So with nutrition, especially if you are in my age demographic, I know a lot of mamas. I was looking at the statistics the other day and I was like, oh, this is really cool. There's mamas from all around North America, Canada, America, and then also the next highest amount of mamas listening in is actually from Russia, and I thought that was really cool too. So when you are thinking about nutrition, I discussed how on the podcast, a lot of people have a lot of feelings about it. And you have one camp that is like, I love nutrition, I love eating healthy, I love all the things. And then there's another camp where people are, I used to love eating healthy and I used to know what to eat, but then I had my kiddos and they have their own special needs and their own likes and dislikes when it comes to their meals, and they also have their own issues when it comes to what they can eat, being maybe that they're casein free or dairy free or gluten free or all of the different frees. Then that changes things. I know that also changed things for myself. I am gluten free, dairy free, wheat free. Oh my goodness, egg free, soy free, corn free. I am really free in all the ways when it comes to nutrition. So for me, I do understand that it can be a little bit tricky, because what I noticed is that a lot of the foods that I was fine eating, my oldest child really was struggling eating those kinds of foods. And then it was really interesting. So we had to find this balance. But as I have said before, it starts with me. So it starts with the primary caregiver, especially if you, the mother or the primary caregiver, this episode is always going to be for you, because my focus is on autism moms. And it's not because I don't see the value in autism dads, because I do. And there are some channels that are really amazing at conveying different subjects and different things to daddies. But for me personally, the reason why I focus on autism moms, because I am an autism mom, I do understand compassion fatigue, and I really struggle with that, as well as struggling with burnout for a really long time. Because of that, I was struggling with anxiety as well, and I have shared that on this YouTube channel before. I don't really struggle with anxiety so much anymore, but it is because of certain things that I talk about to keep all of that in check for myself. So I recommend that starting with those 4 intentional needs, which are sleep, mindset, movement, and nutrition. And then, because those 4 intentional needs are going to tether us, which are our anchors to the goals. So if you're focusing on the need of mindset, then your goal would be to have a calm mind. If you are focusing on movement, then the goal would be to have joyful movement, to find movement that you really enjoy and that you love and that really fuels you and gives you the energy that you're craving and looking for. If you are focusing on nutrition, then the goal would be to have a nourished body. And if you're focusing on sleep, then the goal would be to have restorative rest. But all of these things do take time. It does not happen overnight. There is not just one thing you can do and then that leads you to all the success in every area. It doesn't work that way. But what I do find is how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you are focusing on sleep, and I always recommend doing one at a time. So if you're focusing on that, all the different tips that you're going to implement into your life, all the different strategies and systems that you implement in your life to help you have really great sleep, that is also going to help you in all the other areas. It's going to help you have that nourished body. It's going to help you with your mindset, because you're going to be able to think clearer because you're going to be sleeping more, which is also going to help you with energy. So that you're going to want to move your body, and it's going to be easier for you. So all of these things works together. And I love that, because what that does is that it fuels you and gets you excited to do more and to continue. Because whenever you start something new, it's really important to commit to that. And especially because we as individuals, as humans, our body and our brain wants to protect us and wants to keep us safe. But just because it wants to keep us safe, sometimes it doesn't know the appropriate way to keep us safe. So if we're wanting to have really great sleep, then our brain may be telling us, oh, you want to have really great sleep, but maybe the baby was keeping you up and he was having a really hard time. So let's just forget it. Let's just scroll on our phone, because at least we'll know exactly how much sleep we'll be getting, and we'll go to sleep in a couple hours, and at least you'll get a couple hours. That's better than trying to go to sleep and then getting woken up again. So our brains sometimes, in the process of wanting and trying to keep us safe, it doesn't always actually keep us safe. What it actually will do, it will remember the different things that we did in the past and how, the outcome happened when we did that particular thing. So if we're wanting to have a change in our life, then generally speaking, we have to change something. And we have to change some things, and we have to commit to that change. We have to do it over time. And that's why committing to the 4 intentional needs is so important. Now, sometimes people wonder, okay, so if I just do these 4 intentional needs, it's everything? Not necessarily. There are some things that may not be covered in 4 intentional needs, but it may be covered in aligned living. Aligned living is the umbrella for those 4 intentional needs. But the thing about that is, aligned living can cover a lot of different areas, but the issue is that for a lot of times when a person is coming into burnout, it's known as compassion fatigue for caregivers. Okay, I do have an episode on that if you wanted to go back and take a look at it. It's actually 2 or 3 episodes, because we did a little bit of a series to learn a little bit more about how it works in the body, how we can avoid it, what we can do if we're already in it, and how to move on from it. So we have several episodes on that, so you can go and take a look on compassion fatigue, because it is something that's really important for you to understand, and it is something that can be really tricky, and sometimes you may not see it as compassion fatigue. It may mask as something else, and when you're going in that direction, you may not recognize it as that. Before it actually gets to burnout, it may be self-sabotage because you're so exhausted. So there's a lot of different facets when it comes to that. And what we are wanting to do really is to focus on our 1 intentional need to help us. We want to live a life that's congruent. And so if it's not covered in those 4 intentional needs, usually it is somewhere in there. But if it isn't, we always put it under that umbrella of aligned living. Aligned living means that you are living congruently in the way that you want to live your life. And you are making decisions based upon the outcomes that you're wanting to have. And so the first step with that is to be aware. You have to be aware of what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you're needing to change. And I want to leave you with a couple tacticals in this mini, although I'm looking at the time and it's not quite a mini, but you know what? I'm going to say it's because I had to give the updates in the beginning. So for a tactical, when it comes to making a change in your life, I always suggest journaling. Journaling is really awesome. It gives you a lot of bang for your buck, and it's pretty simple to implement. You just have to commit to maybe like 15 minutes a day, maybe like a few minutes in the morning and a few minutes in the evening. If 15 minutes is not something you can do, maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day. What I have noticed that when we make these really small changes and implement little bite-sized pieces when it comes to change, what can happen is it can grow over time, and then also it can allow our amygdala to understand that that is something that is sustainable for us, that we can actually do that on an ongoing basis without feeling overwhelmed or feeling like this is one more thing that we have to do in our life. So that's the big tactical that I want to leave you with today is journaling. And since the last episode was all about nutrition, I'm going to ask you to also think about making sure that you're getting at least half your body weight in water. Meaning if you weigh 200 pounds, you would want like 100 ounces of water. So even implementing those two small things, having enough water a day and journaling, it could give you amazing strides in your life, and especially when it comes to your 4 intentional needs. So I hope that you're having a great day. I hope that you've enjoyed this little YouTube mini, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you. Bye.